was my child. I'm the oldest of 7 siblings. When I had service at the family health service, when I was 7 years old. Before I came to the American health service, my life was very different from what I live now. My father mistreated us severely, both our mother and all of us. When I came to this place, I came into a world that was very different from where I used to live. Here, everybody gets along well and all that. They don't say bad words to each other. Whereas in my home, everything was very different from this place. If I went back to where I was born and where I used to live, I probably would have a life where perhaps I would not be in school, perhaps I would be in a gang, or maybe I would be another copy of my father. As the older brother, the achievement of my younger siblings had been very big for me. Because now I see that coming here to the Pan American Health Service, they have obtained good results. They are all going to school, thanks to God. There's no mental difficulties with history of the family. Today, this present moment, I'm studying for a career in computers. I've been studying computers for 3 years, and this is my last year. My favorite class is accounting and programming. For me, this is a great achievement to graduate this year, because after so much complicated, after years of living such a brutal life as a boy, I didn't think that I would have a future of being able to study and graduate and have the option of going to the university. My dream is to study in the best university that is possible. I would like to study theology because I see in my own life testimony of God's love, and God deserves to have us serve Him. If at this very moment I had our donors here in front of me talking to me, I would thank them because, first of all, God used them as tools to help people who need financial resources. I would be so proud to have them here beside me. Thank you so much for changing my life and for making a difference in my life. I am deeply grateful to all.
This was a video created by Pan American Health, and the guy that was speaking, his name is Joshua. And then when we went to Honduras, we all had the privilege of meeting him and some of his siblings that are staying in the home. And we want to welcome you first of all for coming. And as you know, this session will be about our experience in Honduras in May. Really, the main reason why we wanted to do this presentation is because of each and every one of you. Because the people that are here today are ones that have financially supported us and our trip and have made it a reality. But also, we have our friends and family here, which have also provided much more than financial support by trusting us and supporting us in this project when we were dedicating hours. We had 1 year of planning to make this trip a reality, and we also had 6 months of fundraising, and we really, really, really appreciate everyone's support in this room. And that's why today we wanted to share our experience in Honduras with everyone and share some of our stories. Now, please raise your hand if you're one of the parents of the volunteers that attended Honduras. The parents? Well, great to meet you all, because thank you an extra very much. You know why? Because you trusted Sparrow to let your children go to a place like Honduras to serve. And you have raised the volunteers in such a way that they actually chose to take 10 days from their life to do something humanitarian. So we have a special thank you for you. Round of applause for everyone. So let's just jump right into the presentation and learn more about our project.
For those of you who don't know me, my name is Cameron, and even though I'm not wearing one of the t-shirts, I did go to Honduras. I just lost it. So, the first thing I want to talk about is who and what exactly Sparrow is. Now, Sparrow is a not-for-profit, faith-based organization that seeks to bring together young adults from the ages 20 to 29 to do community work that we all found that we were passionate about. We want to build connections, inspire young adults, and the main undertaking that we do is humanitarian work, as you know, with the Home for Honduras 2014 project. Now, I want to talk about a little bit about how the Honduras trip came together. When we were first deciding on where to go and what to do when we first started and formed this organization, we had looked at several different locations in Central and South America, and we contacted several organizations down there, a few NGOs and other groups that do work like this. And the one that just worked out logistically was with the Pan American Health Service, as you saw, the organization that we went to and that was in the video. They provided us with a very detailed outline of what we were going to do, how we were going to accomplish it, and it just worked out logistically. And one factor that also affected why we chose Honduras, or how we chose Honduras, is the level of danger. Now, I know some parents probably found this out later or maybe during, but Honduras is a pretty dangerous place. But I can say that now because we've all made it back in one piece. In 2012, Honduras, one of the biggest cities there, San Pedro Sula, which we passed through, was the murder capital of the world in 2012 and 2013. Of course, when we went there, we learned that some of those stats are somewhat skewed, but that's a different part of the story. So, when we first had this project, we thought that it might be a bit difficult to get people involved. We weren't sure exactly how many or at what capacity people would want to get involved with this, but literally in about 2 weeks, almost all the spots were full. We thought this might be a smaller trip with maybe 10 or 12 people, but we had up to like 24, 25 people who wanted to go originally. Of course, some people just life happens and everybody couldn't come, but we still had 19 people who all went, and we had a great experience there. Some of the main thing that we did for this trip was fundraising. Now, you might think that, going there and doing the work was most of the work. Most of the work was the months and months and months of planning and meetings that all of us had to attend, and all the fundraisers we did. Now, a lot of our fundraisers happened in this gym, even upstairs. We did things like having gym nights where we would come and play sports, invite our friends, and people would come and play sports, and we'd eat pizza and just donate a little bit of money. We had a benefit concert put on by Mimi, Sasha, and Veronica that was really amazing. We did a few other fundraisers involved with local businesses in our area. One where my friend he works at a gym in Scarborough, and he had a little workout session there. And there was various other presentations made to donors in churches, so it was a lot of work. Like, as anybody from Sparrow can tell you, that the main work was just going out and talking to people, telling them about the project, getting people excited, and getting them willing to donate was one of the really difficult things that we had to do. Now, the reason that we're here today is to share some of the impact of this trip. It was an amazing, amazing experience, and while we did go to help people, there was a huge impact on ourselves, and you're going to learn more about that impact in the coming half an hour or 45 minutes or so. Thank you.
At this time, I'm going to call all the volunteers that went down to Honduras, if you guys can come up. And find a seat. If not, bring a seat. Don't let the tall guy sit at the end, he's going to block the screen. Oh, maybe not. Oh, he's good, he's good. Okay, awesome. Again, thanks to Cameron for sharing a little bit about the adventure to going to Honduras. Now that we're back, we're alive, yes. a quick thing to note. He mentioned that when we were in Honduras, that we drove through San Pedro, and just to let you know that the reason why it was considered a murder capital was because of the gang violence in there. So it's not that common for tourists to go down there. It's not that common for tourists to go down there and to have anything happen to them. So that's why we were quite confident. We spoke to Pan American down there as well, and they're like, we're without incident, 0. So, and they've been there for about 30 or 40 years. So we were quite confident with that, and part of the reason why we chose to go down there, because the need is so great. When you go to the U.S. government passport, website, and you want to find out, what are the dangers in Honduras? If you look at that website, you'll be like, I wouldn't send my dog down there. And again, it's through our research. We did a lot of research. But we also realized that a lot of volunteers don't even go there. That's why the need was so great, and that's what just really compelled all of us to go down there. So we're just going to, as you can see here, we have a slide up already. I'm just going to ask Aria. She's one of the volunteers that went down.
Hi.
Okay, awesome. Aria, what was your typical day in Honduras, and what did you enjoy the most?
Well, I really hated waking up early in the morning because we had to wake up early every morning at, I think, 6 o'clock, have food, have breakfast, and then we would get to work. And every day would be different. One day we would be painting, and the other day we would be just shoveling for hours. But my favorite part of the whole thing was working with the children. So at about 6 every day after dinner, we would go and we would work with the children. We would not work with them, we would play with them and play soccer or whatever. And that was Julian right there, and his little brother. And basically I met him on our second day there, and he would follow me around everywhere. He was my personal minion. But he was just so adorable. He would come and he would shovel with us, paint with us. He didn't speak a word of English, but he would listen to me. I'd walk around, he'd be on my phone, and he would just follow me around like that. And he was like a man, he was like a child in a man's body. He would never really smile that much or play around too much. And he wasn't very affectionate, and I'm not either, so it's fine. But I remember on our last day, he came and he gave me a big hug, and I mean, just the connection I built with him was amazing. And even with his mom, I think, who was a Christian, was translating for me, and I really got to know about his story. And he would lift concrete blocks like that, and he could do more than I could. And
I remember we actually have some pictures of him lifting up these blocks, and we told him don't do it, and everybody was saying no, and when we're not looking, he has it on his back and he's walking, so he knows hard labor.
Yeah, the kids there are so tough and they're so resilient. I mean, you don't really know what's happened in their past, but they're so resilient. Once they're with you, all they want is your affection, your friendship. They don't really care where you come from or what you're giving to them. They just want your time, they just want your friendship, and that's it. And it was an amazing experience, and I thank every single person here that made it happen for us.
Do you want to talk a little bit about this, lad? Do you remember that?
Yeah. So we had a big screen over there, and what we had to do is, we had a big little mountain of dirt. So what we had to do is take a shovel and then throw it through the filter, and on the other side would be filtered dirt, and we would use that to make cement. So we did that, me and Mimi and I did that for about, I think 5 hours one of the days. And I think by the end of it, my ankles were really swollen. They were literally coming out of my shoes.
Check out the muscles of this one.
Oh yeah. So yeah, and Julian would be there, and me and Mimi would take a break for 5-10 minutes, and he would just be going at it. He'd be sweating, but he wouldn't even stop. So they're really tough.
All right, thank you. Thanks, Aria. Going to Mimi. I'm going to pass the mic over to Mimi. So memes. I mean, we'll talk about the pictures in a second, but what would you say was one of the biggest impacts that that happened to you when you were in Honduras? What impacted you the most?
Oh, okay.
Do you want to stand?
Yes, sure. Hello, my name is Mimi. So it's really hard to just think of one thing because entirely the trip for me was just so touching. Like just the group that we went with, all of us, we didn't all know each other. Like even Arya only knew a few people, but just going there, we all became really close and we worked with each other. We really helped each other and then all bonded with the kids as well. So it was just like, even when you did really hard work, it was fun. Nothing felt like hard labor to me. Like just waking up and being surrounded with everybody, seeing all the kids working around you, just like Arya said, having so much energy, so much motivation was just amazing to me. And I just wanted to add to Arya, what she was saying, like when we were shoveling, it was so tiring and you have blisters and you're sweating, but then it was so much fun because Julian was doing it faster than us, so we're like, oh yeah, okay. So we're doing fast and just going at it. It was so much fun. And to call hard work fun is just amazing. But just one of the main impacts that I had was how sweet the kids were. Like how little they had and how happy they were. How much they share with you, how much they notice little things. I think, was it the first day? Yeah, it was the first day. Juan and I, we were cutting this really long piece of metal rod, and as soon as they cut it, I don't know why my head, I touched it, and my 3 fingers were dying, swelling up. I was crying. This one here was helping me out. But the kids noticed that right away, and they were like, oh, what happened? What happened? They were kissing me, hugging me the entire time. And then one of the boys, Victor, went out and got me a bouquet of flowers, and it was a beautiful bouquet. Like, it wasn't just, oh, here, this. It was just beautiful and so sweet that they care so much about you, and, it was just an amazing connection with all of them.
And, this is one of the pictures there. Sorry, that was me. This is Mimi doing a little bit of hard work. Do you remember this moment? And tell us a little bit about this.
Yes. I don't remember why they brought me up there because this was actually the hardest work I did there. Earlier on that day, there was a few Spanish workers there. One of them saw me carrying this ladder that was pretty heavy, and I was trying to train my muscles. So he's like, oh, that's so heavy, what are you doing? But he noticed, I could do it. So then they needed a helper, and he was like, Mimi, come. And I was like, okay, sure. When I picked up those buckets, I was like, what is this? I could barely carry it. They were filled with cement, and we had to pour the cement on top of a roof that they were just making. So it was me and another guy, Vasco, doing that at the top. But, it was a good way to train your muscles. And a lot of us...
And let's talk about the pinup child for this entire trip. What happened was, we were sitting down, and I think it was myself, Cameron, Janie, and we were just talking about, we were trying to go through some logistics, and then suddenly, Brittany appeared, and we dropped everything, and everybody pulled out cameras. So...
I think just pictures explain it for itself. Like one of the most beautiful girls that I have ever seen. So cute. And just for a second, I want Cameron to quote himself on what he said once he saw her.
Okay. I said that everybody should just stop having kids now because the cutest child has already been born.
And it's kind of true. Just so cute. It was a bunch of them that were adorable, but I think the most adorable part about all of that is, it's one thing to see really cute kids and run towards them, and some would go run away from you. These ones are like, oh, and they run at you, and one would come on one arm, and the other one wants to be picked up as well, so okay. Walking around, they're just so cute, and all they wanted was your love and your hugs.
Thanks, Mimi. So we got another question, and this is for Veronica.
Hello.
One question. What valuable life lesson did you learn when you were down there?
I think probably from day one, actually.
Can you just raise your mic up a little bit? Thank you.
I realized that no matter what you think you're good at and capable of doing, you can A, always accomplish more than you think you know, and B, apply yourself somewhere you never thought to be possible. So majority of us never did any construction, and clearly this was all about work, all about building, painting, as well as playing with the kids. For some people, it was a regular thing. For others, it was a new experience, and we had to babysit, shower kids, change diapers, feed, all of it.
Okay, and let's go to the next slide. Do you remember this moment and this space here, and can you talk a little bit about it?
So the actual facility that we were painting is the new rehab center for the kids, because the one they're staying in now is just
It's like a house.
You can call it that, yeah. The door is falling off, the windows aren't that great, and there's 20-something kids living in it. So this would be the new facility that we had to renovate inside. But the funny thing is, all the kids were helping us, or the ones that could. So this is Freddie, and we had to fight him to allow us to paint, because he would come and take your brush, and then you would just stand there and wait around. And the previous picture with the kids, we were just building little houses, like from mud or whatever. They knew how to do it though. They would take bricks or pieces of bricks, they would take cement that was falling off other places. So they knew layer by layer how to build a house, just like watching us.
And I remember the first morning we got there, Veronica was up early, I was up early, a few of us were. We were walking around the grounds because we actually got there the night before. So we didn't know what the place looked like. And I was walking around and Diana, which is one of the volunteers, full-time volunteers down there, she said, okay, Greg, let me take you into the Casita Feliz, which basically means happy home. And we went there, and Veronica was there with me, and we went, and this was the first, I think one of the first faces we saw. And, there's a story behind her. Are you going to share a little bit of that, or?
I just know that this girl was one of the ones to come at the end, right before we got there, so she was very new, and her family obviously wasn't the best, which is why she ended up at this place. But she actually ran to us and started giving us hugs and kisses, which is surprising because usually the kids are very reserved when they just get to the house. So those couple of weeks spent there were enough for her to kind of warm up and realize that it is a safe place and she is welcome and loved. And yeah, all the kids were just thanking us the whole time.
Awesome. Thanks, Veronica. Now we're moving to Mr. Rohan. I think you can stand. Yeah, you can stand. I think we'll just get the top of your head, that's okay. So Rohan, which area did you volunteer when we were down there? And what was one of the most memorable moments with the kids?
So I pretty much worked at the new rehab center, which Veronica was painting earlier. Juan and myself had to help construct a kitchen, so we pretty much got to cut tiles, which was fantastic. And we got to cut rebars, drill holes, hammer in rebars, and we had to construct a countertop for the kitchen. And we also worked in another room where the kids are gonna bathe. So we had a huge sink which we had to move, which was ridiculously heavy. And yeah, we were just helping Alan, which was one of the workers over there. The memorable moments, I'm gonna steal Cameron's. It's most likely soccer with the kids, because just playing with the kids is amazing, and they're really talented, like better than a lot of my friends. And yeah, it's a shame. But,
and those were girls too that were playing.
Yeah, the girls, Dora, yeah. But pretty much, like, life was so simple over there, and it was an eye-opener. Like, it's something that everyone should see, that a simple life is just amazing. And it was great to see how happy they were, and how happy they made us.
Do you remember this moment, and you want to just share a few words?
Yeah, so they call me Roja. They never used the M. So Roja is red. So whenever we played soccer, they'd be like Roja, as in a red card. So when we walked in, this was the first day, and I don't know, I guess I was the tallest person there, so all the kids were just jumping. So one kid, they just all want attention, which is great, because, I don't know, it's just amazing to see. That very instance, there's actually one more child that hops on the other leg. But yeah, 5 kids, I was very happy.
I think that's when they brought down the giant. When
Yeah,
they were there.
exactly.
Thanks, Rohan.
Thank you.
Just a couple areas to add into what Rohan was saying. part of our time down there, a lot of individuals have asked us about short-term projects and what the type of impact it is it really worth it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. One of the areas that we did impact the local area there was the local economy. He said that, we cut rebar, we did this, we did that. We didn't do that by ourselves. We hired local workers down there for the time that we were there and for the following week after we left. So we worked with, I think, about 6 or 7 of the local workers down there, and we paid them as well. So that was part of the impact as well. Thanks, Ryan. Moving right along, Oksana. We're going to move the mic over here. I remember when Oksana woke up and we were just talking, and I was like, you gotta come with me. You gotta go, see some of the kids in the Casita Feliz. She's like, okay, fine. And it was really funny because I don't know if it was him. No, I don't think it was. It was another kid there. When we stood together, they're like, now we know what your future kids are gonna look like. It was really funny, but this kid was absolutely adorable. But anyways, Oksana, which area did you volunteer in when you were in Honduras?
Well, I did. On the first day, I helped to paint the hallway in the girls' dorm, but majority of the week, I actually worked in the new clinic that they were building. We were finishing up part of the building, and it's also, that's me. And that's also will be a new administration building, and basically what we did, we built walls with cement blocks.
And it was pretty amazing because the people, or the individuals, volunteers that were working in this area were pretty much all girls.
Yeah.
Lifting blocks.
Cameron.
And Cameron did for a while,
3
yes.
girls.
And they did an amazing job. I'm not sure if he's in this picture, no, but there was another worker that we hired to work with us. He's not in this picture right now, but besides of him being the toughest guy that we have all ever met in our lives, he was pretty impressed of how efficient and how amazing we worked down there when we were doing the blocks as well.
It was actually pretty amazing to work with him because he didn't speak any English, we didn't speak any Spanish, and Cameron and I just knew one word, mas, no mas. And you'd be amazed how much you can communicate with just one word, more or no more. And he just taught us a little bit. We learned what cuchara is. I don't even know what it means. I know what it is, but I don't know what it's.
It's like a trowel.
Yeah, it's a trowel. Cuchara. It was amazing to just learn from him. Yeah.
Can you tell us a memorable moment with you with the children and the clinic?
Oh, in the clinic. Yeah, one of the days I got to go and help out in the local clinic that they have on the ground. So it's basically a 3-room little clinic where there's only one nurse that just graduated in December. And she was serving the whole orphanage as well as the whole community, the town around, because in this orphanage, they actually provide medical services for other people in the town that they can come, they assess them and they give them money for medicine as well. So it was very interesting to see how little they had, and yet they made it work. And it was very interesting to see the people that come, like I've never met a person that couldn't read or write, but yet I met a 50-year-old woman that we had to draw pictures on the boxes of medicine because she can't read, she didn't know when to take the medications, what to take it with. So it was very interesting to see that and just definitely realized how much we have here. But with the kids, one of the most memorable experiences was with Jenny. I don't know if you have Jenny's picture there. I think it's in the next slide.
Yeah, in the next one.
Jenny is the girl in the wheelchair, and I'll just share a little bit of background story about her. Jenny came with her sister, I'm not sure how old they were, to the rehabilitation center because they were very malnourished and sick. And I guess they were not really doing well. I think herself and her sister they couldn't walk. And then her sister started to get a little bit better and she started to walk, but Jenny never really recovered fully. So it's very sad, but their father came, he saw them, and he took the girl that could walk and left Jenny there. So it's just I don't even know what she felt, the sense of abandonment is just like something that we will never understand what they go through. And basically the story is Greg and I were staying in the room in the same house with the girls, and one night she was just crying and she wouldn't go to sleep. Other kids couldn't sleep also because she was just screaming and laying down on the floor, didn't want to talk to anyone, just not saying anything. So I decided to go and give it a try, and I just came and I just laid down on the floor with her and hugged her, and she was crying for about like 20 minutes, I don't know, and I tried to talk to her, and then she stopped and I literally carried her to bed and lay down with her in bed, and I feel like it made me realize more how much love those kids need. She probably just had a bad day and she just needed someone to show her love, and I think that was just something that really touched my heart. Yeah.
Awesome. Just a quick add-on story to that. Thanks for that, Oksana. It's so funny, between the entire group here, we called her the boss. And the reason why we called her the boss is that when she called her name, she was like, Greg, come. And I was like, oh, okay. And she had a very, a commanding presence. And I mean, I really liked her. The first time I saw her, who are you? Come, right? And I walked over, and I gave her a hug, and I introduced myself, and she spoke very well English as well, which is a great, just a great story about the orphanage, because they do teach or send the kids to bilingual school. So it gives them a chance. It gives them a chance to do something more that maybe in the situation they were before, they would not be able to do. Thanks, Oksana. Going to the next person, Bookie. Oh, here you are. What did you learn about yourself when you were down there?
I'd say just like seeing their life of these kids in contrast to my life, and how simple it was and how little they needed. And just like how I was like, if God can take care of these kids with so little, but how much more can He take care of us living in this developed country? So it just taught me very much like sort of what is the thrills in life, and what isn't. So it just helped me see like the important things.
Awesome. Do you remember this little selfie you took down there? Can you give us a little context?
Freddie and this was Salvador's older Jonathan, these boys this was one morning, I believe. This was it was Saturday morning. And these boys, I think I had given my camera to Freddie, so he was taking lots of photos. And we just took a shot together. Because these boys were with me a lot during the projects. When I was working at the bricklaying site, there was one day Freddie came, and I was working with Santos, the local worker, and I was just so tired because as the wall got higher, it got more difficult to put these blocks on top, because at this point we were now working on scaffolds. So it was like a balancing act, and it got warm the last half of the week, like really hot. And so Freddie comes and he's like, Buki, okay, like what? And I was just like, oh, okay. I was like, trowel. And he just started staying with me like that whole time. And like he passed me the trowel and I'm working. And there's one point where I was just putting a block down, and I guess like I was shaking a bit. And he just came right beside me, and he grabbed the block with me, put it down with me, and I was like really moved by that. But so these guys were great. And this is Dora. This is the sister of the guy who we saw in that first video, Joshua. This is his younger sister, and she's in university as well. She's in college as well. Dora is amazing. Like, we got to play amazing soccer with her, work with her. Like, she has a strong spirit. And this is another project. Rich was with me on this project. We were cutting rebar. And yeah, I think Vasco had given me like a quick lesson on like cutting the rebar. And yeah, then we went at it. So it was, I think we probably cut how many bars that day? It was like maybe, yeah, it was like at least 30 bars. And it was very exciting, so.
It was interesting because at that point in time, I was running between the sites, taking some pictures, because I was like, wow, we've been working and we don't have any evidence of work. So let me get the camera. And then I came back and I just saw her, mask on, glasses on, and she's like, and I was like, wow, I don't even know how to use that. But it was awesome just to see how, again, it doesn't matter what you think your capabilities are, it's the commitment and your ability to try something. And that was an amazing thing. Thanks a lot, Boki. Moving right along, we have Rich. So Rich, when you were down there, you got to go to the Casita Feliz and actually volunteer as well. Not just construction, but volunteer in the Casita Feliz. So tell us a little bit about that.
My first experience at Casita Feliz was really eye-opening. My shift was with Veronica, and I think Anastasia was with us for a little bit. And as we went in, Cameron and I think Oksana was there at the time, and you see these kids in the cribs around the room, and they're all holding their hands up, like they want to be hugged, they want to be touched, they want you to lift them up, and as soon as you lift one up, one starts crying. And you put one down, and the one starts crying. So it's like it's trying to have this balancing act of how do you show your affection, your attention to each and every one of them, when they all are just vying for your attention.
And when you got there, before you got there, how many caretakers did they have for the 30 kids?
I think there were 2 ladies. So all the 30 kids, and these ladies are changing their diapers, they're cooking for them, they're cleaning the floors like crazy, like every few hours they sanitize the entire room. And so one of the actual adventures we went on with Veronica and Anastasia, we went on a field trip. And, okay, so I can do this stuff all day long, but just a few hours with the kids and I'm completely tired. I'm like, completely zombed. And the
Tribute to mothers out there?
I had to give my mom props when I came back home. I don't know how your mothers do it. But we actually went on a field trip all around the entire compound. And this place is huge. It's like 120 acres. And we went to see all the fruit trees, and Victor was with us. And as we went over barbed wire and like through these narrow paths, he would go up and climb the trees, like grab everyone fruits, and he would grab just enough, like enough berries for every single person, and open your hand and give it to you, make sure you had something. And, we get the little fruits and give it to us, and he kind of looked after us. It was, really touching.
Awesome. And tell us a little bit about your school bus experience.
School bus.
Actually, before we get to the school bus, do you want to actually just go back one more slide? What about this night? Tell us a little bit more about this.
This night was pretty intense. It was a Wednesday night, and they have their prayer meetings on Wednesday night. And we went to the church, and there was nobody there. But these kids are standing outside, and we're asking, so are you guys going to have your usual service? And like, yeah. Then they started ringing the bell, and everyone started coming running in, and the kids went inside, and they said, okay, it's time for, devotions, or we're going to do their readings. And I think this girl was like 12 years old or something like that. She's really young. She stood up, she opened the Bible, she started preaching, like reading the scripture and like expounding on it. I'm like, wow, like what's going on right now? This girl's like yay high, and she's like going up there with all this confidence, and like telling everyone what she's talking about. And then there's crazy, intense song service where there's actions involved, and clapping hands, like moving up and down. And I mean, they can sing really well. And yeah, we all came together. Greg jumped in and tried to sing with them, but he couldn't keep up.
No. I had the actions though, but I didn't have the vocals.
Yeah. So that was a fun night.
Do you want to tell us about the bus?
So in the bus, every morning they leave really early to go to their school. And as they load up, it was very interesting to see that some of the kids didn't have any lunch, and the older kids would actually bring like pre-packed lunches for them. So they'll have like bags of popcorn, or they'll have a banana, and they'll give them out to each person, make sure everyone had a lunch that day. And everyone's a little bit tired when they get there, but when they actually got to the school, everyone lit up, they all lined up, they started singing. I think they sang the anthem as well, and they just prepared themselves for the day, and they're super disciplined. Like, public schools over here have nothing on what these guys can do.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Rich. Just to give you guys a little bit of understanding of what a day looks like for us. Basically, we would wake up at about 6. What time do we have to go on the bus? 6:45. So at 6:45, 3 or 4 of us every single day, we would alternate. We would jump on the bus and go with the kids to the school. Then we would walk back from the school back to the compound. After that, you would eat. After you eat, around 7:30, that's when your shift starts. So you would work. Now, in the morning, some of us did constructions. Again, we alternated. And some of us volunteered in the Casita Feliz. Oksana got to go into the clinic because she has a medical background, so she was able to work with the nurse there. And I remember Oksana giving me some stories after. She said that, the education that they have there is great, but like you said, she's a new graduate, the nurse, and she is the nurse for the entire town and the compound. So it was good to have other medical expertise there as well. And after that, we'd have lunch at 12. We eat. As soon as we finish eat, we jump back into our projects again. We would finish at 4. 4 o'clock, like imagine, these guys have been doing labor all day. The kids are waiting with a soccer ball. It doesn't matter what you're doing, soccer solves all problems. So we would go to, football, sorry. So we play football with them until 6:30, okay? The sun is setting, we're starting to get mosquito bites. We run back into the place that we're staying. Then it's time for us to eat. While we are eating, there's a lineup of kids outside the door waiting to play with us. We finish eat at about 7:30, 8 o'clock. The doors open and they pour into, it's like a common area just like this, a kitchen. And we would have 2 tables, and then we would start playing games with them in there. And then at like 9:30, we would have to okay guys, you guys gotta go back to your bed, because they have school the next day. And that, again, that's just a typical day. And Rich, thanks for sharing with us some of the bus experience. Moving right along, Christian. Oh, here it is. Awesome. What was one of your most memorable experiences there? And, for Christian, he actually is, first tongue is Spanish. So he actually served as the translator for every single conversation we had down there. He did a great job. So just tell us a little bit about your experience.
Okay, I could stand here and talk for hours about Honduras. There's so many amazing experiences I had, but if you guys saw it, when Bookie was, her picture, you saw a boy called Jonathan. Him and I, it was like father and son for some reason. I'm young, but it was like some special connection between us. Every day he'll come and wake me up. And I could talk a lot about what happened during the week, but the last day was just really amazing. We left at about 4 a.m. We had to go somewhere, and that's the last day we were gonna be there. And we went to sleep late because around 11:30, 12, and he's like, tomorrow morning I'm gonna wake up at 4 to say bye to you guys. I didn't expect he was gonna do it because I don't even have
You know what happened? I'm gonna tell you because I don't think I told you this. So Oksana and I, we were staying in where the dorm where these kids were, Jonathan and the other kids. And Jonathan comes up to me, and that night before, and because he said he was gonna wake up early, he grabs my hand, and then I'm like, okay, where are you taking me? He goes. So I walk with him, he takes me to his room, and I was looking at Oksana, and then Oksana joined me, and then he points to the bed, he goes, I sleep there, you better wake me up. And I was like, it's 4 o'clock, I feel bad, but if I leave and I don't get sleep, okay, fine. So that's
now I know how you woke up, because I was wondering the whole time how you woke up at that time. So I was still sleeping actually, because I wake up 2 minutes before we have to leave. So there's this window there, and there's Tony's the first on the bed, and I wake up and Tony's like, someone's calling you. So I look out the window and it's Jonathan there. He's like, wake up, why are you not awake? So I wake up and he comes and hugs me, and I just start giving him some my stuff, and it was just something amazing, and it was really, really, really touching for me. The translation, I try to have fun with it. for example, when the construction workers, I'll go in there and I'll ask like Santos, I'm like, how are they doing? He's like, yeah, they're doing so good. And I'll tell them, he's saying you guys are doing so bad. And I'll just like change the whole story up. But then after I'll be like, no, you guys are doing great. And personally, it was my first time translating for the pastor. It was, I was a little scared because the pastor was like, I need somebody. It was my brother and I. My brother wasn't feeling too good, so he's like, you go up. And yeah, like it was my first time translating a sermon, and I think it went well. And yeah, everything was a little bit of responsibility too. For example, Bookie, she couldn't eat some stuff, so like she kept asking me, she's like, oh, just ask if they have this or that. So, and also going with Greg to buy construction material and all this stuff. So it was really good experience for me. So it was big.
Awesome, thank you. Just to let you guys know, when we were down there, a lot of times when you donate to not-for-profit organizations or charitable organizations, they usually have an expense for themselves and their operation, etc., etc. One amazing thing I can tell you about Sparrow, which we put together, is that money in, money out. And that was an absolute amazing thing to actually see and do, because I didn't go through a third party. I went to the construction store. We bought the cement ourselves, the bricks, everything. So there was no middleman. There was nobody taking a cut. So we knew that every penny that all of you provided and helped to support this trip went straight to those kids and straight to the project. And again, just thank you for that. Moving right along, we're going to Alexi. If anybody wants to give him a microphone. Alexi, before we get into probably some of the questions I have here, do you remember that moment?
I never worked so hard in my life. I would never, that's like manual labor for you. Yeah, this was the day we were building up the ceiling for one of the rooms or whatever. And like the guy, the foreman's on the set, they're like, well, this roof's gonna take us, it might take you about 5 hours, so you better be ready up and ready to go. And we're like, okay, sure. And then we finished it in 2 hours, but I think I dropped a bucket. I think each one weighed, I have no idea, but I just remember I would pick them up one after another, and it got to the point I'm like, no, must not give up. And as I would pick it up, I'll just drop it on my leg. I'm like, no. And then Grace's like, no, bro, don't worry, I got this. So then he would throw some in. But yeah, making cement, like that guy, well,
Santos.
Yeah, we're covering his face, but they call him the doll.
This guy here.
Yeah, maybe we'll somehow show his face, but this guy is the most jacked person I've ever seen in my life. Like, even more jacked than Cameron. So, yeah, he was just like, Greg was saying something like, oh, guys, let's work smart and efficient, okay? Let's not throw out our backs. And then, so we're like trying to like pick up the cement blocks, being careful, like, okay, like you do half of a block, you do the other half. And then this guy Santos would take like a 40-kilogram cement break and just be like, and he like throws it in, and we're just like, okay, yeah, screw this. We're just
Okay, so one question I wanted to ask you was, what was one of your most memorable moments and spending time with the kids?
Like, literally every single day I would wake up, I'm like, this moment's so memorable, and it sucks because something even more amazing would happen the next day and be like, okay, cool, I forgot that, but but really it was, I don't know, I work with kids, I've been working with kids for 3 years, and just how these kids are with each other, they're like pretty much their own family. Like, they have no parents, but I've seen how some parents are with their kids, like in Vaughan. And the way these kids are with each other, like, I never seen anyone show much love and be that affectionate with each other. They really are their own family. And like that Joshua said in this video, like, he's better off pretty much being in this area than with his parents because he'd probably end up in the gang. And the one thing I realized when it was like Thursday and Wednesday, I was like, they were so like welcoming, like all the love that they gave me. I tried to get back. They were just, like, it was just a family. And then I was real, at one point I was like, oh wait, We're like, I realized our time's running out. We have to like go back. I'm like, oh, you're right. We have a family. I literally forgot I had a family in Canada because that's what, like that's the kind of family that they form. Sorry, Mom. That 19 years, 20 years you spent raising me was gone in like 5 days.
So this is you have a story to share about this. But before you share the story, okay? This is Rich right here. He was the expert.
I taught him, but sure.
Yeah, of course. And he was the expert. But before he was the expert, Alexi started using this. So please tell us about using that.
Or so, like, in Canada, it's always like all about safety, workers, calm or whatever. Like, it's soon now. So there's like, so that blade, so usually it would have like a safety guard and like helmet, like CSA approved boots, like just in case. They were like, as you can see, I'm wearing basketball shoes, I think, like gym shoes. Anyways, so we were given the task to cut cement blocks, and that is the blade that was used to cut it. And there's no safety blade at all, and it's really hard to, there's a lot of recoil because you're literally cutting cement. There's a lot of recoil in the power tool, and sometimes it'll like slip off to the side. So yeah, me and Richard were doing it together, and at one point Richard's like, oh, we had to like cut like one of the cement blocks in a different way, and we developed a pretty efficient system, and but we had to cut a different way. So I'm like, okay, Richard, go. He's like, okay. So he tries to cut it, and then it sometimes happens that it slips. So literally, like, he almost lost the leg. But so when that happened, he's like, okay, well, let's see, you try. I'm like, I was like feeling what my legs felt like standing. Okay, we'll try. So we did a prayer before that, and I think that was like one of the few times I prayed because I really needed it then. So what happened was, we prayed, and then I started to cut it, and then like it was a clean cut, and I was like, okay, thank goodness.
Good stuff. And just to let you know, I actually had to come and do some cutting after. Wasn't that hard? No, I'm just kidding.
We just came to pose for a picture and make it look like work.
Okay, that's not the truth.
Okay, fine. He cut one brick, we cut like 40. So we did 4.
I thought it was 2 bricks.
I think we did 40,000 more percent than you did.
Yeah, of course. Okay, and that's the end of the mic for Alexi. Anyways, I'm just kidding. Actually, no, I'm not. Moving right along. We're gonna go into a picture right here, and this is Janie. Just a quick story, just a quick thing to add to Alexi. It was a good thing that we actually had safety goggles as well for those specific incidents and stuff. And at the same time, again, it's not necessarily incredibly hard to do. It's just that we've never done it before. And it's a little bit of a learning curve, but once you do it, these guys, they were just cutting those bricks like it was like just slicing through butter. They were so fast and efficient. So, Jamie, please tell us the impact and a little bit about the side project that we had to do, the inventory.
I think we made a lot more impact than I anticipated, at least. Yes, so we were there, we started working Sunday, and by Friday, well, I think even by Thursday, we were running out of things to do. Like, we were literally looking around, what else can we do? They didn't expect us to be that efficient with our job, so we just kept going at it, and it's pretty funny because every time we do time check, we thought it's like 12 o'clock, but it's always 9 o'clock. So for some reason, it's always 9 o'clock, and we can't get off at 9 o'clock. But yeah, we had a lot of projects that we did. We worked on washrooms, we created the stalls, that's what we were doing the bricklaying. We created about like 5 stalls, I believe, yes. In the girls' dorm, we painted the whole hallway, we did all the rooms. And it was amazing because in one of the bedrooms, I walked in and I can't even stay there for more than 5 seconds. Like, it's so hard to breathe because it was so molded, it was so congested, like everyone's sleeping in there. And I can't even stay there for 5 seconds and kids are sleeping there. Like it's just like the thought of it. So we were painting them, we were fixing the hinges of the doors, some doors didn't even have knobs. The plugs, they didn't have plates, like covers or anything like that, so we replaced that. Even the shower curtains, like little things like that. We went to the town and bought shower curtains because they were all molded. And I think when we were replacing it, even some of the kids, they thought, oh, it's still okay, let's not replace it. It's like, no, it's molded. We're replacing it. Like things like that, they don't even realize the changes that we're putting in there. And yeah, so we were just making a lot of changes. Also, we left behind more things because towards the end it was already Friday and we still have a meeting because some of the team, we want to keep going forward. We kept saying, whoa, let's do more, but we have to say, guys, we have to stop. There's too much to do that we can't keep saying, let's go more, but yeah.
And just to let you know, like what Jenny was saying, while we were there, we told them in advance, I said, guys, down there, we're coming there to work very hard. And the work that they gave us, we completed by Thursday half day. And we still had a day and a half left. So that's when we made a need assessment. We went into the girls' dorm, like Janie said. We did the inventory. When that was done, I went to the grocery store. I went to, with Christian, we went to the hardware store. We just bought all the material that Janie mentioned there, and that's how we were able to do little things that had a huge impact for the children's lives on a day-to-day basis. Janie, so all you guys know this, but I'll let Janie talk a little about this. How was the food?
It was rice and beans. But it was really good.
How often was the rice and beans?
It was every lunch and dinner. But some breakfast, yes, we can't get enough of it. It's the best. And we have fresh tilapia, fresh fish. It was great. For me, like for my work, when I eat breakfast, by 9 o'clock, 11 o'clock, I'm already hungry. So one of my fears was, oh no, I'm going to be so hungry because there's no such thing as break time in Honduras. So we eat like at 6:30 and the next meal is at 12 and I'm like thinking, how am I going to survive? But for some reason, their food actually stays with us for a long time because by 12 I'm still not hungry. Right? But they fed us really well. It was good food, rice and beans all the time. Sometimes they add a variety. They add in like onions and tomatoes. Sometimes they'll add in fake KFC.
What was fake KFC? That's right.
Yes.
What was the name of the wrap thingamajiggy?
Oh yeah, the baleadas. Yes, it was the Honduran food. It was like a tortilla with eggs, refined beans, and I think you're supposed to make it really flat, but they were so good, so I made mine really thick. But yeah, so we went into the town and they fed us really good food. They were fresh foods.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Jimmy. We're coming down closer to the end of the panel here, but we're going to go to Daniel. I'm going to move the mic over to you. Just a quick thing, just to let you guys know, just before I ask Daniel, the food that we had there, like for me, I loved it. When they had when we had fried plantain for breakfast, I was like, I might just stay for the whole morning because this was so good. And the really funny thing was that I actually like rice and beans a lot. You can ask my mom, she's somewhere here. And when we came back to the Houston airport, guess what I had? The rice and beans. I went, what was the name of that place? Papi something? I don't know. It was a Mexican restaurant in Houston airport, but I couldn't get enough of it. Anyway, Daniel, you have a little bit of experience in going to a few humanitarian projects. So how would you compare this one to some of the other projects you have been on?
Well, this was an amazing mission project. This was an all-inclusive, like a comprehensive. You get to work, you get to play with the children, you get to have fun. This was, in terms of the group, there was a great synergy, an energy, a bonding amongst us. No one was fighting, I didn't see any jealousies. There were no relationship breakups. No one was swapping partners. I mean, you know. I'm just saying. No, it was very good. And everyone respected each other. In fact, and there was certain work that perhaps we wanted to do, but we didn't fight for it. We just naturally allowed each other to just go. We just flowed. It's amazing. We didn't have no structure and it wasn't scripted. It was just, okay, I'll do this, I'll do that. And we just helped one another. So this group, there was a very strong sense of synergy and energy that made us successful and effective in our work.
So for those out here, young adults out here between 18 to 29, don't you think that they could have been a part of this? and how can they be a part of this?
Absolutely. You can definitely be a part of this. We want to invite you to be a part of it. And you can visit our website at www.sperro.org. We'll give you some more information. There's going to be upcoming mission or humanitarian projects as well. And a lot of other events that's local. So not only going abroad, but local projects like tree planting and food kitchens and soup kitchens and all that, helping the homeless, feeding the homeless. So there's going to be a lot of other projects, so we'd love for you to be involved.
Awesome. Thanks. Cameron, we got you next here. These are some of the pictures from Daniel's experience. Listen, it was hard to get that coconut jelly, wasn't it? But he was working. He was working.
That's Freddie. He's right beside me. He was everywhere with us.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go to the next slide. Cameron. Okay, so do you remember this moment, or do you remember times when we were working there? What were some of the experiences you want to share about this?
I just have to give respect to everybody who does construction for a living, because that is not a joke. I've done like manual labor before, but this is just stuff that's next level, and it's a different type of lifestyle. It's like, I think it's how, I guess, people way back, like hundreds of years ago, used to live, where you wake up in the morning, you do hard work, you come home, you spend time with your family. In this case, it was kids.
You should put the mic closer.
Oh, and it's just a so much more. It's a different type of lifestyle, but just so much more rewarding. You feel like every day you work, like you did something today. And at the end of the day, sleep is so much more satisfying. And it's just different. And the way that they work together, and God, that's Ramon. He's 7 years old, but he was malnourished as a child, so has maybe the size of a 3 or 4 year old. And he has some developmental issues as well because he was malnourished. But he was one of the most loving kids. Like, as soon as he's one of the first kids I met, and as soon as he walks up to you, holds your hands, carry me. And he doesn't talk very much or at all, but he points at what he wants. So he's like, there. So we walk over there. He gets bored of here, so he wants to point there. Everywhere is back and forth. But it was amazing just interacting and being around him a lot.
Cameron said something to me. He said something that actually made me laugh a little bit, and Oksana, we were laughing a little bit. So you said something, and I want you to repeat it. You said something like, I was never a kid person.
But now I can say I'm a kid person. Before, kids are cute, whatever, that's great. And they run around. I didn't not like kids, but I didn't go out of my way to interact with kids. But here, you're thrust into just kids everywhere. You don't have a choice, you're forced, basically. You run in and there's someone grabbing my leg, and before I'd be like, oh, a kid grabbing my leg, alright, whatever. But now, it's I don't know, I found how rewarding it is to, I don't know, give a child love. Just that basic thing. It's something that I never really did before, and now I can deal with just kids, and sometimes they play with you, they get rough with each other or stuff like that, and you kind of learn how to, not discipline them, because, they're not my kids, but how to deal with those issues, and and the other thing, I forgot what I was going to say.
It's okay, we'll get to it.
I remember.
Okay.
One of the main things there is that a lot of the staff are females, so they don't have many male role models. So when they're doing something, they're misbehaving, they might not listen to say, no offense to the ladies, but they just wouldn't listen sometimes. But when a guy tells them to stop doing something or do something, they stand up and pay attention because they're not used to that. And just some of the boys, if they're playing rough or whatever, you kind of tell them to stop. And it's an interesting difference in how a child is raised affects how they act towards other people. But overall, they're amazing kids. When I say they're misbehaving, they're still the best behaved, nicest kids I've ever met in my life, guaranteed.
And it's interesting you should say that, because part of the reason why we had the guys in our group, including myself, we spent a lot of time with the young boys there, and just to interact with them. And they saw us interacting with other people and the other females and the respect we gave them. And this is a part of why we just don't send money down there. It's also our presence that counts. So Cameron, how would you sum up this trip in terms of your experience and what you saw in everybody else here?
I think it was amazing that everybody was able to just work so well together. Because I know traveling is one of the things where you learn what bothers you about people. But I can honestly say that that did not happen here. Everybody got along so well. It was like some of us, I didn't know everybody here initially, but it was a unit, it was unity, and like everybody was just, I don't know, it was just fun. Like everybody's jokes. I feel like everybody just has like interesting things to say and like different experiences. We learned a lot about each other as well, and how like this, just to see each other, all of us grow collectively as a group by what we did with the kids there is something that I found amazing.
One quick thing to share, thanks Cameron, is that when we were down there, the Honduran kids and some of the adults, they knew the challenges that their country had in terms of the the violence and things like that. But they were so proud of Honduras. One of the days that we were there, they're like, "You have to go see these waterfalls," and it was like 10 minutes away from their compound. We're like, "Okay, sure." So we arranged the trip, and it was actually the day we did a lot of work. We did a lot of work that morning, and then in the afternoon they're like, okay, you can go take a look at the waterfall. We went to the waterfall, absolutely amazing. I think that was an amazing experience that we were all part of. We don't have any pictures of that today here, but believe me, it will get leaked on Facebook. We will have a few pictures on that, and that was an amazing experience. Another thing was, on the Saturday, just to give you guys a quick heads up, as a Christian organization, they take the Saturday, so Friday sunset to Saturday sunset, they take 24 hours, basically, to hang out with their God, to hang out with each other, and just take time to relax and to rejuvenate themselves. And they did that every single Saturday, and it was an amazing experience for some of us, and because we got to be involved in that, and it was totally different than doing that over here. Because when you're down there, you just you just take the time to relax, and it was amazing. Because on one of those Saturdays, let's just take a walk in nature. And they took us to hike to one of the mountains in the area. It was a cloud forest, right? And we're walking, and literally it's clear, beautiful sky, and while we're walking up there, we just see these clouds rolling in, and it was just amazing because then the clouds would roll in, and we would be surrounded by the clouds. And on the way up, a couple of the volunteers that worked down there, they were giving us a little bit of background information. So we would walk by, they're like, "Oh, this is a farmland of cilantro." Walking up further, they're like, "Oh, look on the right side. On the right side here, they have coffee beans." And so we were able to, learn a little bit more about their country. It was amazing. The last day that we were there is always the break day. The last day is the Sunday, and that day we got to go to one of the local beaches in the area, and that was great experiences. Because it's funny, these guys were all together the entire week, sleeping in dorm rooms, and we're at the beach, and you figure that they want a time alone. No, they the entire time we spent together. And again, it's just part of the synergy and the energy that we had. It was awesome. Coming to Daria, I'm going to ask Daria a couple of questions here. Daria, what was your aha moment?
Well, when I was initially going for the project, I thought that really we're going there to help. And that was the objective, and we did do that. But then my aha moment was realizing how much the kids have helped me every single day. And you've heard from the other volunteers that they mentioned how helpful and what a strong sense of community they have. So it was just blowing my mind when I heard these kids' stories. So for example, there was a family, there was 3 siblings, and they spent 1 year by themselves, abandoned. They were surviving, they're 12, 10, and 8 years old, so 2 boys and a younger girl, and they were completely malnourished, just living in a mud hut somewhere, abandoned. And one of the workers actually found out about it and brought them into this home. And because these kids grew up on their own, they just look out for one another. And one time we were having lunch and I saw them, the 10-year-old boy, he noticed that one of the toddlers was really struggling with his food. Like he was having trouble reaching in the table. And so without having to be asked, he just walked up to the toddler, put him into his lap, and fed him to make sure that the child finishes his food. And it was really touching to see how helpful they are without even anybody asking them to be. You don't have to, discipline them. Go help, the young ones. They just know that they're there for one another. And another moment that really struck me was we were about to go somewhere and there was 9 volunteers standing around. So one of us gave one of the boys, Freddie, you've heard about him, they gave him a granola bar. And before Freddie even took the first bite of granola bar, he offered it to every single one of the 9 people standing. And we were just so blown away that we told one of the directors of the school, we were like, oh, the kids here are so giving. And she told us, you know what? The reason they're like that is because they have nothing to give. And the second they get an opportunity to give something, they will go and give it. And these are just life lessons that I will forever take back with me when in Canada, be completely selfless and humble, and they have nothing, but they give you so much every single day.
Thank you, Derek. We have a couple pictures here of Derek working, and it's interesting because some individuals have asked us, well, what's the point of going down there and painting? We can just pay people to paint down there. Part of the challenge is that it's very difficult for them to even buy the paint. Part of the conversation we had was that their workers down there have not even been paid for this year as yet. So they're actually living for food. Their workers are living there based on the fact that they're being fed. That's the desperate situation. And Derry, you just want to share a little bit about some of the work in the painting?
Well, this was painting the girls' dormitory, so they had a lot of long hallways, and this was actually the first day. And they didn't expect us to paint the hallway in like 2 hours because there were a few of us working on it. So they were really happy because then we had to paint the girls' dorms, and it's like just seeing the condition of these rooms. I know Jane mentioned the mold, but it was unbelievable. Like, they had a bunch of toys stuffed under the bed, and we had to move the beds around to paint the rooms. And you're painting over the mold, and then this little girl, when we moved the bed, she reached out and she's like, oh, it's my pillow. And it's been there for so long, and it's completely covered in mold, and she's hugging it, and they're like, no, we can't, and it's just, this is the condition of their dormitory. So it was just nice to even have a chance to scrape the walls at least, because they're living there every day with 4 girls in one room.
And part of the area that Janie shared, we also even bought some toilet seats, because some of the toilets didn't even have seats in the girls' side. And that, again, is part of the desperate situation that these guys are living in. Last question. Do you think, as an organization and as a team of volunteers, or what do you think our overall impact was? And if you just want to share that.
Well, I think we definitely did make an impact because we did finish our project sooner and we did do those extra work. And if we actually counted the number of hours that we worked and spent time with the kids, so if 19 of us, the number of hours we spent in that week, it would take one person about 6 months to spend that time. If they worked 60 hours a week, it would take them 6 months, just because we had 14, 16-hour days sometimes. And definitely I think we did leave an impact, but most of all, it was just really nice to have young adults coming on this trip, because when you do humanitarian projects like this, and this is exactly why we really want you to participate if you're within a young adult within 18 and 29, when we do these projects, is because you bring back with you something to Toronto. It changes you. For example, now we know, like Veronica mentioned, you learned a lesson that it doesn't matter what your talent is, you can always make a difference, and that's what we learned. And hopefully everyone that went on this trip now realizes that they are capable of making a difference, helping somebody, spending time with somebody. And that's something that we can spread through Toronto communities as well, and not just somewhere international. So I think the impact went beyond Honduras, and hopefully bringing back to our communities here.
Thanks, Derek. Just one quick thing to add. She said that it impacted us. It's funny, I called Cameron, and I was like, Cameron, what are you doing? This is a week when we got back. He's like, nothing. And I'm like, what's going on? And he's like, oh, just nothing. And then I asked them, I said, you know, like, I just told him how I felt. I said, man, I got back to my job and I work in the worst job ever. And he's like, buddy, I applied to 3 jobs the first day I got back. And it just made us realize that the meaningfulness that we gained when we were down there working with the kids in the orphanage. Daria, I know that as an organization there are finances involved, and if you just want to share a little bit about it.
Yeah. So as Greg mentioned, we actually want to be 100% transparent with every single dollar that goes into the organization. So we've put together this table kind of outlining exactly where the money came from and where it went. And as you can see, nowhere there is there any expenses for the Sparrow team that has been working on this project for a year. This is all 100% volunteer. So the majority of the money came from donations. So about almost $8,000 came from personal contributions. So we didn't just fundraise the people themselves, like we took money out of our own pockets to contribute to the project. Then we did different fundraisers that has brought in about $20,000. And with that money, we were able to have our Honduras expenses. So we took money for accommodation and food, things like construction supplies, the salaries of the workers. So actually, salaries of the workers, 2 workers for $300 a week. So we were able to fund for 2 weeks for 2 workers as well. And when
it was actually 4 workers.
Oh, 4, you're right. And the item there that says sponsoring young adults is when we had our beach day on the last day, we actually didn't just want to go and enjoy ourselves on the last day, so we took the bus driver and we took 3 young adults from the children's home that the director has identified that they're giving the most of their time back to the children's home, spending time with the younger kids, and we wanted to do something nice for the older ones. And so we took them on an excursion, snorkeling, and paid for their meals and their stay, so they actually just got to spend some time, actually enjoying themselves as opposed to spending so much time studying and being in this home and helping the kids. And things like transportations and flights. Flight was one of our bigger expenses. And once again, thank you so much for all of the contributions that you made, because we're very happy to share this with you, because we want you to know exactly how the money was spent. And if you have any questions after the presentation, feel free to ask and we'll definitely clarify things.
Thank you. We have a quick video. So now you heard the stories, and now we're going to see some more images and some video about the trip. So if you guys want to sit down, and we'll get the video rolling.
begins as the music fades, and I'm left here with more than I can take. If you lift me up, just get me through this night. I know I'll rise tomorrow, and I'll be strong enough to try when the static clears and all is said and done. I will realize that we all need someone. If you lift me up, just get me through this night. I know I'll rise tomorrow.
Oh, it was amazing.
Amazing.
It was easy.
Really easy. Like the instant we showed up, it was just they want to know your name, they want to play with you, they want to hug you. It's just right away there's a connection.
We improvised and sign language made up for it.
I was surprised on how far we could get off of hand motions and mass, no mass, no mass, knowing just numbers and basic words.
Their English was quite incredible, so we picked up a few words.
Like I remember one of the nights I spent 2 hours just talking. Yes, I most definitely would. It was a wonderful experience that I would definitely do one more time.
Of course I would do it again. The experience that I had was way better than anything I've expected.
I would definitely do it again. I would go back next week if I could.
Yeah, most definitely. It was a great life experience. Working with the kids and working with the Sparrow team was just amazing.
Attention, attention, Sparrow team. Attention, Sparrow team. On behalf of United, we want to thank you for flying with us and your patronage, and we hope your humanitarian project in Honduras was successful.
Just get me through this night.
We also just wanted to mention unfortunately not all the volunteers could make it here with us, so we still want to give them a shout out for all their hard work. And that was Sasha, Vasco, Tony, and Anastasia, and Juan. So let's give a round of applause to the
Just whenever I travel, I usually write. And I wrote something there, and then I posted it. And then some of the guys wanted me to read it here. And never read anything that I've written before, so it's going to sound a bit strange, but to me, most of all. Okay, so this piece is called Honduran Green. Be still and bathe in the morning song, notes short and deep, drone high and long. From the canopy top to the forest floor, sings a choir infinite outside my door. I step into the press of green as the dew reflects a golden sheen, symphony conducted by the morning star. From the east her instructions reach further than far. To all that breathes within her sight, she commands the ending of the night. Insects sing the song of the morning, their constant note the air adorning. Colored flocks flit through the trees, complementing the melody in infinite keys. So sure is their voice, oral beauty unmatched, each singer a prodigy from the day they were hatched. Green low, green high, green close, green far, a green grown so deep from a distant star, a green that seeps into the sky, a green that glows from days gone by, a green that's powered by oceans falling, a green commanded by thunders calling, the green that carpets all my steps, the green that powers all my breaths, a green that presses through my skin to massage my soul from the outside in. This song of green plays beauty close, all men should drink the calming dose. I breathe in love and exhale peace, wind pumps my blood and stresses cease. How can a spirit of flesh and bone be buoyed so high by a single tone? The roughest man amidst the softest sigh, when surrounded by Honduran green underneath Honduran sky.
We just wanted to take a few minutes as our presentation is almost over. I'd like to invite all of the Sparrow team members up to the front. Everybody, the Sparrow team, the executive team that planned the project. A year of planning. We had weekly meetings, very long nights, videos being edited until 3 a.m., meetings running on until midnight sometimes. Sometimes my mom would ask me when I come home, when she's saying, Daria, like, why are you home so late? And my answer was usually Sparrow. And we just really want to acknowledge the team on all of the tireless hours spent and the last minute things that we had to do. There's no way that this trip would have been possible without their hard work. Let's give a round of applause to the Sparrow.
Christian.
And Christian, who is actually the newest member of the Sparrow team, and he has also really tirelessly worked to be the translator. So without him, I don't know what we would have even been able to do in Honduras. So thank you, Christian. And also, lastly, but very, very important, is every single one of you. We wanted to thank you for attending our session, for supporting us, and actually, if I could get a few of the volunteers to help me hand these cards out, we have a little thank you note for you as well.
Yeah, just a token of our appreciation for you that have taken your time to come out tonight. We have something just to share with you. And again, thank you for coming out tonight. We also had a couple of giveaways that we wanted to do, and one of the okay, so one of the question was somebody that's a size large, and I'm only taking hands. Okay, if you shout out the answer, you're gonna get it. Oh, sorry, medium. Okay, so if you want to know what I think, what size is this? Small? Who's wearing a medium? Medium? That's a medium. So if you're a size medium, what was the name of the organization that we partnered with in Honduras? Pan American. There you go. We have a winner.
One more medium.
And we want 3 names of the kids that we mentioned during the presentation. Hands, I want to see hands.
Yeah, Juan, Julian, and Freddy.
Juan was not one. Juan was one of the volunteers. But it's still a Spanish-speaking name. Ah, there we go. Good job.
Okay, and this concludes our presentation, so thank you so much for sharing this evening with us. And we'd like to, don't rush to leave because we have some refreshments and we'd like to finish them all. So I know we've kept you here for just over an hour, so please help yourself. And also we'd like to meet you as well. So if you have questions about Sparrow, what our upcoming projects are, how to get involved, come talk to us and we'll be happy to share that with you. Thank you.